The night's long shadows have dragged you through time and across worlds to kneel here before my worm-eaten throne. I offer you now this one chance to walk away with your lives and your souls intact. Please, tell me our story. We wear our secrets like armor. We're so afraid of the world around us, of the people we love. We're afraid to be exposed, to be hurt, to be seen for who we truly are. It isn't time that makes us old. It's that heavy armor we wear every day, the secrets we keep, the lies we tell ourselves. And our fragile souls can only walk alone for so long before they grow sick and they wither. Secrets, silent and stony, sit in the dark palaces of our hearts. And unless we invite the light in, we will never be free. Now, our secrets have a secret too. They are tired of their own tyranny. They are dictators, exhausted, praying to be dethroned. As you watch tonight's episode, think about your own secrets, how heavy their burden is, and know that our brave companions, all of them with their own secrets, will be doing exactly the same thing. In our last episode, our party of adventurers continued their journey south towards the town of Harthalen and hopefully answers to the many mysteries they've encountered along their way. At a bend in the road, not far from rising smoke, they were accosted by Sir Jeremy, a Knight of the Rose loyal to Lord Soth. Sir Jeremy challenged Sir Reardon to lay down his arms or face him in single combat, and bound by the oath and the measure, Sir Reardon was forced to oblige. The two knights fought valiantly, greatsword clashing with greatsword, each of them wounded and on the verge of death. But at the end of a battle worthy of song, it was Sir Reardon who overcame his opponent's seemingly greater skill to deliver a killing blow. With the secret help of the mage Honoria's time sorcery, and perhaps a few angels watching down on Sir Reardon from above. Meanwhile, the warrior priestess Sabria Sunishal had been in a catatonic state for several days, ever since she learned a terrible secret. She was cut off from Syrian, her god, which meant that her divine magic wasn't coming from her god, but from somewhere else entirely. Our story tonight begins in a spacious tent made from perfectly dyed leather and decorated in vibrantly colorful silks, blues, purples, yellows, reds. It's a lovely living quarter housing religious artifacts, weapons. There's a desk upon which sets many scrolls, quills, and inks of all different colors. And there, in the center of the room, a comfortable and inviting bed. Outside the tent, the rhythmic shaking of bells is matched by a steady drum beat, and we can hear the excited dance of strings and pipes. Undeterred by the heat, the Al-Nohuri clan has been celebrating the marriage of Arit Al-Nohuri to Prince Omar, the Banu Shapir clan, for 3 days and 3 nights. But back inside the tent, it's almost as though there were only 2 people in the entire world. The recently married desert princess, Arit Al-Nohuri, a dark-haired beauty, and the woman who lives in this tent, the warrior priestess Sabria Sunishal, a few years younger than the last time we saw her. Now, Sabria, Arit is standing just beyond the foot of the bed. She is staring into a standing mirror and dancing slowly to the music that plays outside. Her expression is distant and a little sad. What is Sabria doing in this moment?
I'm watching. My body sways gently to the beat of the bells just outside. She's always been the better dancer, but when I see her dance, I can't help but move. My body can't help but move with hers.
She places her hands on her stomach and she stops swaying for a few moments and looks down at her feet. And she sort of turns over the corner of her shoulder to look back at you with one eye. Do you think they know about us?
I think at least one of us would be dead by now if they knew about us, Naji.
She smiles at that. Oh. Mahari, my sun-haired knight. It makes me sad to say this, but I have never seen my people so happy, so hopeful. At least not since you came into our lives and showed us the light of Syrian.
It is a good day. It's a good day for the clan. It's a good day for your father and your family. It's a good day.
She looks down to her feet again and sits down on the edge of the bed, and her hands pressing further to her stomach. My father and I had a fight earlier tonight. It's been weighing on me a lot.
The night of all nights. My love, I thought we'd talked about this.
Well, He just wants me to do things that I don't want to do. And I don't know how to tell him. I can't tell him the truth.
What? No, I suppose that you can't. I thought perhaps if I worked hard enough, if I fought hard enough, that I might have been welcomed as a daughter by now, but this is a good match. It's a good match for your family. It will provide a security to the people that they're going to need if what we've heard from the north is true.
She slowly stretches a hand along the surface of the bed towards you and leaves it there halfway.
I stretch mine out to her as well until our fingers touch. I feel the softness of her skin. I swallow hard. I'll never stop loving you, Naji. You will always be my little star.
This close, you can smell the perfume of desert flowers coming off of her body. She starts to withdraw her hand, not entirely. You just feel her grip loosen a little in yours. I'm to consummate my marriage tonight. I've stalled for 3 days. But without a child between the two clans, our marriage means nothing.
Erit, child or no, this marriage means nothing. And with that, I slide closer to her and wrap my arm around her waist.
I know. She lays her head on your shoulder. But it means everything to them. I'm not sure if I can keep doing this.
Although I try not to pull away, she can feel the force of those words between us. Love, I know it's going to be so hard. But as long as I can, I will be here. I will be here for you.
She reaches up and puts a hand on the side of your face. Amhari, my knight. If you're strong, I'll be strong too. But we have to be more careful. I can't bear the idea of anything happening to you.
Do you think me so fragile that I couldn't take that boar of a prince and all of his brothers together?
No, I know you could. You're the strongest person I've ever known. But that doesn't mean you should.
No. No, it doesn't. And then... and then I'd have to face your father. And I don't know if I have the strength for that.
He loves you. Even if he doesn't think of you as his daughter, he loves you. I would never want to see him hurt.
He trusts me. And I would not care to see the look in his eyes if he knew that I had broken that trust again and again.
And again. She starts to slide away from you and push to her feet.
I linger for just a moment. And when it begins to look as though she's turning to go, I reach for her. I take her by the wrist in a way that would look a little rough to anyone else, but that I know is exactly the way that she likes it. And I draw her to me.
She gasps for a second, but it's playful. And you hear a small laugh dance out of her mouth. And she leans her body into yours.
I lean down and I kiss her sweetly at first, but then long and deep. And then I pull back for a moment and I look straight into those deep blue pools of her eyes. Arit, no matter what happens tonight, no matter what happens on any other night, no matter what he says or does or what your father says, you will never belong to him as long as you choose to belong to someone else.
She nods her head. It's a small motion and there's a little bit of defeat there. But then she acknowledges, I'm yours, no matter what. I'll always be yours. But Amhari, I have to go to him now.
Yes, Naji, you do. And I take her now by the arm in that deeply respectful way that I've learned as a member of the small court that makes up her father's advisors. And I walk her to the tent flap and pull it back. Shine brightly, little star.
I will think of you, and I will return to you tonight.
I'll be waiting.
She pulls away from you and steps outside out of the tent flap. And as she does, your nostrils are assaulted by the smell of smoke and brimstone. You feel the sting of ash in your eyes. And as you look through that tent flap, you don't see her anymore. You don't see anyone. You see that all of heaven seems to be falling, fiery, broken shards of stone streaking downward, hammering towards the earth, towards the desert, towards you, towards the Al-Nahori clan, towards Arit. You can hear and you can smell. Your family and your friends are burning, and their screams are already growing quiet.
No, 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 no. And I spin around to look behind me to see if I'm even still there. No, no, no.
The tent behind you is burning. Everything in this camp is burning. And you've seen this moment before, just days before. But you do see something different this time. In the middle of this inferno, which does not burn your flesh, you notice a figure, tall, proud, powerful. It looks like a woman wearing a strange, gaudy white and red dress with large golden shoulder pads.
I reach down for the scimitar at my side and draw it forth and begin to walk slowly toward the figure.
The figure does not draw a weapon, but it does match you step for step in rhythm with your footfalls. It's then, as you draw clearer, closer through the smoke and the fire, you notice that this figure's not quite human. It does have the body of a woman, a beautiful, beautiful woman. But the figure's head is that of a feral, drooling, grinning jackal. It steps through the fire unscathed, just as you do, and it's looking down at you with wild eyes.
Even as the flame roars around me, I speak in a quiet tone, as if it's all just a dream. What are you?
The she-beast opens her mouth to answer you. Bring your wrath, Lord. Bring your hammer. And it speaks your words in your voice. The smoke around you both, begins to clear.
You find me in ill humor, creature. Those words were my words. But this outcome is not my doing.
It does not answer you with words this time, but only the grin of a jackal. And as the smoke fades, so too does this creature, revealing you to be inside a colorful tent. Inside this tent, it's almost as though there were only two people in the entire world. The recently married desert princess, Arit al-Nahuri, a dark-haired beauty, and the woman who lives here, Sabria Sunishal, a few years younger than the last time we saw her. Sabria, Arit is standing just beyond the foot of her bed. She is staring into a standing mirror, dancing slowly to the music playing outside. Her expression is distant and a little sad. What is Sabria doing in this moment?
I swallow hard and I take a deep breath of the warm night air. Her perfume again fills me. This is wrong. This is wrong. Erit, this... I turn my back to her and half walk, half run to the flap of the tent. I throw it back.
Amhari, wait, where are you going? I have something I need to tell you. But as you throw the tent back, though you hear her words behind you, as you pull open that flap, you're assaulted with a smell of brimstone. Ash stings your eyes. All of heaven appears to be falling, fiery, broken shards of stone streaking downwards, hammering towards the earth, towards the desert, towards you, towards the Al-Nahuri clan, towards Arit. And you can smell your friends and your family burning. Already, their screams are growing quiet.
I look out across the dunes to where I saw the jackal woman before, squinting my eyes through the smoke.
She's there, not far from you, and she sees you too. You can just make out her grin through the fire.
I draw forth my scimitar once again and begin moving with that same purpose, just as I did the last time.
The she-beast matches you step for step, walking in an even rhythm.
When I reach the point at which I am about 20 or 30 feet away, I crest the ridge of a very slight dune, my eyes never leaving hers. And the scimitar drops to the sand. My hands come up, and out of them, a fireball.
All right. The creature continues to step towards you until you begin to cast the spell. And as you begin to summon that flame, it stops and it just stares at you, grinning. Roll your damage. Now you can smell something else burning, the hair of a dog, of a jackal. And the creature crawls through the sand about a foot and then rolls over onto her back. Not dead, but breathing raggedly. Her wide, wild eyes stare up at you. Bring your wrath, Lord. Bring your hammer. The smoke around you begins to clear.
I pick up the scimitar from where I've dropped it. Is she fading in any way, or does she remain?
As the smoke clears, she appears to dissolve into it. She's beginning to fade as well.
Even as she fades into wisps of smoke, I bring the scimitar down across her neck.
You do cleave something that feels solid. There's purchase there. Her eyes still move, though, even with her head detached from her body, and then both fade into the smoke, and the smoke fades away, and you find yourself inside a colorful tent. You see this scene play out again and again, taking different actions, the same actions, and no matter what you do, the result is always the same. The Al-Nahuri clan burns, and the she-beast speaks to you in your own voice. There is something familiar to you about the creature, but no matter how hard you try, your memories slip from your grasp like sands through your fingers. 10 times, 20 times, 100 times. You're not sure how many times you experience this loop trapped within your own mind, until it finally ends inexplicably, and you wake up with a start in the back of a small merchant's cart. You're surrounded by antiques, books, fancy cheeses, a single suit of bejeweled leather armor, and through the back of this cart, you can just make out what appears to be an old dwarf standing at the top of a descent along a wide road. He's looking beyond, and he's holding, fully cranked and loaded, a heavy crossbow with shaking hands.
I breathe deeply and try to get to my knees. Am I bound in any way?
Loosely, you've been tied to the bottom of the back of the cart, but loosely enough that you can get out.
I loose my hands and more roll than leap out of the back of the cart. I stumble and I down to a knee, reaching for my weapons. Are they there?
They are. All of your equipment's right there.
I draw the scimitar, and with the name of my god, it ignites and shines like the center of the sun, but I'm still unsteady on my feet. Who are you? And what have you done with me? And I drop to my knees, my hands, and I throw up the full contents of my stomach onto the ground in front of me.
Do you throw up into the cart?
No, I'm out of the cart at this point.
Okay. The dwarf turns over his shoulder, looking surprised. It's an old, weathered face, surprised to see you. And he lowers his crossbow, points a shaking hand towards the slope that heads downward along this road. The knight, I don't think he's going to make it.
The knight?
Sir Reardon.
And with that, I'm on my feet, my scimitar still burning brightly, and running toward the crest of the hill to see what he sees.
As you make it to the edge of the hill, you see below you your companions, and above you is Honoria. You can make out her flapping, fluttering black robe as she's up in the air. Down below, Rookone and Avrin have their weapons drawn, but seem to be not engaged in the combat that you're witnessing. And what you see are two knights, one Sir Reardon and one a slightly larger knight, wearing plate armor that is marked with the insignia of a rose. You would recognize them even from your time, this is a knight of the rose. This would be one of the greatest warriors of his time. They're both exhausted. They're swinging their great swords, just throwing their weight into it to be able to make it across the body with blows. And you're seeing blow ring out after blow. And then finally, just when it seems like the Knight of the Rose is about to get the best of Sir Reardon manages a surprise swing upward, catches the knight at the base of his neck, And you watch the Knight of the Rose's head be removed from his body. It rolls down the hill several times and then off to the side where it stops along the side of the road. Sir Reardon's exhausted and he turns, says something you can't quite make out.
Am I near to Averin and Rukon?
They're both down the hill. You're at the top of the hill. It's not far. You could. It's maybe like 50 yards.
I'm continue to move toward them at speed. As I do, as I come down the hill, I'm looking around to see if there are other enemies present anywhere within view.
Roll me a perception check.
14.
As you begin down the hill, you happen to glance up and you see something that your allies did not see last week and you missed this, but some terrible perception rolls. You see leaping from the backs of 2 tall trees, 4 copper-scaled winged creatures wearing leather armor, holding short bows. You would recognize them to be draconians. They are gliding, their wings about the length of a human's arms, moving in circles as they begin to descend, and all of them are notching their bows and pulling them back in preparation to fire them down the hill.
I call out to everyone, "Ho there, look out! Arrows from above!"
Everyone, welcome. You can all roll me initiative. I will say that unless you have the alert feat, besides Sabria, who passed her perception check, this first round will be a surprise round.
21.
21.
That's a 4. I'm extremely exhausted.
Rukon rolls a 4 because he is extremely complacent.
So here's how I'd like, rather than figuring this out each round, let's decide right now between the two of you who wants to move first and who wants to move second.
Billy, Sir Reardon shot. Narratively, he is literally, his legs are jelly.
All right, then Rukon will take it.
All right, and what was, let's see, Honoria got a 10?
Mm-hmm.
Does that, let me ask you this, does that include, you have the alert feat, right?
No, I thought I was a level 8. I put that in chat. Since I'm only level 7, but I'll be getting the alert feat. I'm looking into the future like Honoria would.
That's good. So in the near future, if you survive that long, you'll have the alert feat. In the meantime, you have a 10.
Great. Just what you want to hear from your DM. Fine. I'm up in the air. Screw it. See you guys later.
So you hear, and it's been days since you've seen Sabria Sunishal awake. She's been in a catatonic state. You see her at the top of the hill. You hear her call out to you, but just as she does, the first round of arrows from these short bows, from these 4 copper-skinned winged draconians as they descend, are shot off, and they're all aiming at Sir Reardon. The first 2 rounds go off. They have advantage because it's hidden. So those are some terrible rolls. 17. Does a 17 hit you?
I'm afraid it does not, even in my weakened condition.
All right, I have 2 more. And how about a 19?
Yes, that hits.
All right. So a volley of, in very quick succession, each of them fires off a pair of arrows, and only the first 2 have fired so far. So 4 arrows go sailing down from above right after Sabria calls out, all aimed for Sir Reardon, and only one of them hits for 6 piercing damage and 7 sneak attack damage. So 13 total. As soon as these two fire, they nosedive downward. They were gliding around in circles before. They dive downward and drop right in front of Sir Reardon and one of them in front of Rocco.
So there are 3 in front of Reardon now?
No, there's one who's dropped in front of Reardon, one who's dropped in front of Rocco. 2 are still gliding, short bows drawn. They've yet to fire. They're still in the air.
And it's mine. Oh, go ahead.
And yeah, it's your turn next.
I'm coming down the hill at full speed toward the one that has that's landed in front of Sir Reardon. And I want to also name that that from this point forward, any attack that's made on Reardon, I will react to with Warding Flare until I'm no longer able to do so.
All right.
My goal here is with that, with my radiant scimitar drawn, is to run head on into this draconian and try to take it out in the attack.
And you're charging the one that's on Sir Reardon, not the one that's on Rocco.
That's right.
All right, go ahead and take your attack.
All right. That's a 9.
It turns at the last moment as you bring your scimitar in, and it spins its short bow, catches your blade between string and haft. It loses the short bow in the struggle, but it does send your weapon off course.
With whatever is left of my movement, I want to position myself between Reardon and the Draconian.
So they're 5 feet and 5 feet. You couldn't get between them unless he retreats, but what you could do is you could get on the back side of it so that you would be flanking in the future.
I'm sure there's very little chance that Sir Reardon will be retreating. I don't know him well, but I know him that well. So I'll take the flank.
All right, very well.
Try to draw off the attack.
At the end of your turn, the other 2 Draconians release their fire, both of them shooting 2 rounds at Sir Reardon.
Warding Flare for disadvantage.
It's still a crit on the first one. And then 2 more. So I think only one of them hits. A 14 won't hit, but the one that does hit will be a crit on a sneak attack. And that will be... Oh, I just had this.
Wait, disadvantage?
It still has it also has advantage because of its attacking from hiding. Attacking
Doesn't
from
seem very
surprise.
honorable.
Yeah, and it's not. These Draconians don't look very honorable. When they land, they snarl. They look very intent on hurting you. So this will be 12 piercing damage and 14 sneak attack damage for a total of 26.
Bring it. Yeah, he'll take this.
This arrow will catch Sir Reardon right in the shoulder where his main sword arm is used, and he's already beaten and exhausted at this point. And just like before, after these 2 strike, they nosedive and they spin around and around, approaching the ground, swoop up, and one of them drops behind Rocco, and one of them drops behind Sir Reardon. Sir Reardon and Sabria, I'll let you both make me perception checks real quick.
Lucky 10.
So Sir Reardon can make me a perception check too.
Lucky
Sir
13.
Having fought Draconians probably more than anyone else in your group, you would notice as they come down that their Capac draconians, and two of them are male and 2 of them are female. And with that, and if you have any questions on your turn, you just let me know. Honoria, you witnessed this. You were in the air. They were in the air with you, and then they dove and landed. And now it's your turn to act.
They dove past me and landed while I was flying. I guess I was so focused on the battle, I wouldn't have seen them.
I think you rolled a nat 1 on your perception.
Oh, that's right. And they didn't strike me in the air. Lucky me. I look at the one that is behind Sir Reardon, and I start bringing my hands together and swirling them and chanting very quietly, crackling ham. I pull up a ball of lightning energy, and I carefully look because the knight is already so wounded, and I let fly a lightning chromatic orb at level 3.
Let me know if you're attacking the male or the female, because right now, Sir Reardon and Rookon are both surrounded front and back by a male and a female.
Let's go for the female.
All right.
And that is a ranged spell attack, so... Alright.
That's a hit.
That is going to be a total of 5d8. You're welcome, Sir Knight.
You strike the draconian in the back, and the knight, you can feel its body, it's behind you. You can feel its body fall into yours for a second and bounce off of yours. And it howls and hisses, drops its short bow, and looks up into the sky at Honoria, and then starts to reach over its shoulder. Is there anything else that Honoria is doing on her turn?
I like my vantage point from here.
All right. Rookon, it's your turn. You've just witnessed a number of arrows, 8 arrows fired at the knight, and then 2 draconians dropped, one right in front of you and one right behind you.
He's going to stand proud with his shield in his hand and his scimitar in his main hand. Not one of your arrows are fired at me. That is an insult. And then the one that landed right in front of it, he will take the reckless attack and swing with Khazragan's Minotaur, or with scimitar.
All right.
17.
That will be a hit. Roll that damage.
Oh, sorry, it's 8.
8. And this is the one right in front of you, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah, you bite into its arm, even it's starting to drop its short bow and reach over its shoulder. And for a second, its arm is caught. It grabs the flat of your blade, pulls it out of its scales. You can see a little bit of, it looks like acid or something spilling out of the wound. And then it tosses your blade aside and starts to reach for its own.
I'm going to use a bonus action to use my shield mastery shove. Now that I've got its attention on the blade, I'm going to look at it wryly and go, psych, and then punch him with my shield.
And this is a strength saving throw, is that right?
Yes.
Is it athletics? Well, it doesn't matter. That's a nat 1, so you can do whatever you'd like to him.
I'm going to knock him prone.
So he's reaching for his own short sword, and before he can pull it out, you slam into him with his shield, and he goes down, straight down to the ground. The back of his draconian head, the scales crack against the earth. He looks dazed for a moment.
He's going to, knowing that there's another draconian behind him, he's going to laugh wryly and slowly prepare to mount the downed draconian.
To mount the down draconian?
Like next turn, he's gonna like straddle him and.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure I understood what I was hearing. Sir Reardon, it's your turn.
Okay, so now that it's Sir Reardon's turn and he realizes the type that they are facing, he will shout out to his entire group as loud as he possibly can. When they die, step back Acid flows through them as he goes into the one that was hit. Because he's got how many on him?
You've got a male in front of you, a female behind you. The female behind you just got hit by a lightning orb from the sky from Anoria.
Okay, well, he's going to flip Absolution around and rear strike behind him. He's just so beat up. Let's give this a shot. I can't even find my weapon. Oh, God almighty. 13!
13 will be a miss.
Okay. So I'm going to use an inspiration for my second attack because I failed to mention it on my first attack. How's a 20?
A 20 will be a hit.
Okay, and then I would like to use another 2 inspiration to max damage this sumbitch because I can't stand much longer. So let's see, that's going to be a total of 16. It's 16 damage as he's able to slash back behind him and pull his blade out.
That is just enough. So as you drive Absolution behind you, this creature's already starting to come at you with a backswing from its short sword. You catch it right in the chest, and you hear a ragged exhalation from its throat catch in its mouth. It slumps forward, and then you feel something less than solid at the back of your blade, where your blade is driven through it, and you can feel its body begin to disintegrate into itself.
He knows he's getting the absolute straight F away from this as it's a poke and run, like a poke and roll.
That will
technical term.
Give the other Draconian an attack of opportunity against you as you try to move away.
So be it. This is how you have to fight these lizards.
And in this case,
I'll use Warding Flare to protect him from that attack.
And what is it? A 1d4? Is that how Warding Flare works?
No, it's just disadvantage.
A disadvantage. Perfect. So it no longer has advantage on this. It has disadvantage instead. And it's going to snap at you with its draconian jaws, and you can see this close to it, Sir Reardon, the venom dripping from its fangs. Does a 19 hit?
Yes.
16 piercing damage, and make me a Constitution saving throw.
18.
You feel your body start to go numb. You feel your joints lock up. You feel like you're about to fall down onto your face, and you know what this is. This is the Capac Draconian poison. It's a paralyzing poison. But you are able to fight through it and get away from the pool of acid as this Draconian that you killed disintegrates into a pool, and the pool begins to spread. So you will not take acid damage from this.
Okay, so what was my total damage there, my dear friend?
16 piercing, but no paralysis.
Hey, we got that going for us. Woo! Just between me and the help. Help.
How's Sir Reardon looking?
I'm awesome. Listen,
okay.
I'm a knight. I'm fine. He's going to, as he takes the attack of opportunity, he's going to wheel back around and put Absolution up. But if anybody sees him, he is slick with blood and sweat. He is reeling.
As Sir Reardon flees from this pool, still on his feet, barely, it's Albin from the top of the hill, his hand shaking, holding the crossbow, says, look out, here I come. And he starts to move down the hill, and he fires the crossbow at the female Draconian, the one that Sir Reardon, or the male Draconian rather, the one that Sir Reardon is just fleeing from. But it goes wide. He's high up, his hands are shaking, he's anxious, he's old, and it goes sailing off into the wood. And with that, we're back up to the top of initiative. And Sir Reardon, the draconian that just bit you, it quickly encroaches upon you. It's not letting up. And it's going to attack you with 2 swings it's going to bite you again.
Warding flare.
Warding flare. So disadvantage.
I have 1 more after this.
They're so awesome. This time you're able to protect him. How does this work, Allison?
There's a flash, and it blinds him just as he's about to snap, and so he stumbles and misses wide.
And he does miss wide. He actually falls down for a second. His jaw slams into the dirt. He pushes himself back up, and he starts to reach for his short sword, but that's his turn. Meanwhile, on the other side, Rookone, you have 1 behind you and 1 in front of you. The one on the ground that you just knocked down stands up, and it snaps at you with its lizard-like jaws as well. And it has advantage because you are flanked. So a 24.
That is a hit.
16 piercing damage, and make me a Constitution saving throw as the venom from its fangs begins to course through your body.
12.
Is that a natural 1? No. Wait, what is it?
I rolled a 12.
No, 6. Awesome. Yeah, no, you're just able to fight off this venom. So again, just like before you with Sir Reardon, you feel your limbs locking up. You almost fall down, but you stay up on your feet. You do still take 16 piercing damage.
16 piercing, got it.
And sneak attack damage since it has advantage, so an extra 7, just for good measure. The one behind you, the female draconian, draws her short swords, 2 of them, and it swings them both, attacks with both. And they have advantage on both attacks. So that's going to be a 20 and a 22. Those will both hit.
Yep.
They'll take a total of 12 more piercing damage and 7 sneak attack damage.
Got it.
How's Rookone looking?
Very charismatic.
Always. Meanwhile, Sabria Sunishal, it's your turn.
I can't help but laugh just a little at the one that stumbles after being blinded by my warding flare. And as it's falling, my second scimitar comes out, and in a pose that will remind you of the night that we slayed a shadow dragon, the 2 scimitars cross in front of her. She utters a word under her breath, and a bolt of radiant energy flies out. This is a guiding bolt, casting at 2nd level.
All right. And
15.
Which one are you attacking?
The male that
Okay.
just took a snap at Reardon.
This bolt goes past it, and it seems like it's going to strike it in the back, and then it kind of looks over its shoulder, and in the last moment it presses its scaly stomach to the dirt, and it just sails right over it, just barely missing.
I'll use my movement now, if possible, to position myself between it and the knight. Scimitar is still crossed, daring it to try to get past me.
It does at this point turn towards you. You're not sure if it's going to push past and try to get to the knight again, but go ahead and roll me I'll let you do persuasion.
Yeah, okay. I probably should have said I wanted advantage on that before I rolled it.
I'll let you use advantage. I saw the instinct. I saw it.
I'll use it. Yeah, I'll use the
Okay.
advantage.
And you feel pretty certain that you've got its attention with the guiding bolt. It doesn't, for the moment, it turns away from the knight, and it does turn towards you as it draws its blades. Anything else on your turn?
That's it.
All right, Honoria, you're up.
I see the knight dripping in blood and facing his opponent. I am going to trace a small sigil in the air, Biasu. And as the sigil appears in front of me, I'm going to bolt back and I'm going to dive right through it, sending the sparks of magic off to the side. And I land right in front of Sir Reardon and I hold myself in front of him. Pathetic.
So Honoria lands side by side with Sabria Sunishal. And Sir Reardon is now being guarded by these two women with a Draconian just on the other side. Are you going to cast anything or do anything on your turn, Honoria?
Just the Blade Ward.
Excellent.
I got a reaction though, so
Yep.
it'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's a great idea. Mages make great takes. Wizards. sorry.
Rokon, as they land and begin to protect Sir Reardon from this other Draconian, you still have two on you. What are you doing?
His eyes are wide, fresh with the pain of the wounds that have just been inflicted, and he starts to get cocky like he likes it. So he's about to lay into the Draconian right in front of him with his, grab him and lay his face into him, and then he chokes up, and his eyes get wide, and something else takes control as the blood vessels in his eyes burst, and his muscles tense all over. And so what was a calm, collected, cocky warrior is now a beast of anxiety. And he's going to tense all of his muscles, shout to the sky, face to the clouds, and roar at the top of his lungs. And he's going to make a grapple attack on the Draconian that has been knocked prone in front of him. If he's still prone.
That Draconian stood back up.
Okay, then he's going to grapple him when he's up.
Okay.
So that'd be athletics. 19
versus a 13. You got it. So how do you wrap up this? This is the male Draconian, the one that bit at you, the one that bit with the venom.
I'm gonna grapple him where his shoulder connects to his torso, and then I'm going to use my bonus action as with my shield to slam the Draconian behind me prone.
All right, you're shield mastering.
Yeah, shield shove.
All right, that's a 9.
14.
And you do, it begins to come towards you again, and you slam your shield backwards. It catches part of the blow with the flat of its blade, but it still can't slow down the force, and it goes toppling back, just like the other one. You smash it to the ground.
All right, and then knowing that one is prone, I'm going to use my move action to move away from it towards Riordan. With the Draconian in tow.
Dragging the other one, and Riordan's close enough to you that you can get to him even at half move speed as you're dragging this other Draconian. But the one on the ground will slash at you with its sword with disadvantage because it's prone. That's still going to be a 20.
That definitely hits.
All right, so that is going to be just 6 piercing damage.
Gotcha.
You drag the snapping Draconian. It's biting over its shoulders, trying to get at you as you can't quite escape from your grasp as you pull towards Sir Reardon.
Did you half that damage?
Oh, no, because you're raging now. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, yeah, only 3 then in that case.
And that is my turn.
All right. Sir Reardon, you're up.
Okay, so Sir Reardon would see everybody rush to his aid, and there is a surge of... He's back a bit. No second wind. This is just... The fight is worth fighting. He has allies at his side. And for a moment, as Sabria lands to his right, And as Honoria lands in front of him, affixing herself between he and the Draconian, he'll actually spare a moment as he pulls his left gauntlet from Absolution and he drops it on Honoria's shoulder and he says, "Tally-ho." And he will jump past Raccoon and go for the down Draconian because he's on his back. I get advantage on that, right?
Yep, yeah, the one that Raccoon just slammed to the ground, you get advantage on.
Okay, let's...
But there will, the one of them will get an attack of opportunity on you, though.
I know, do it, man. Do it, rock and roll.
As a free action, can I cackle maniacally?
Absolutely, every time. Are you using the last warding flare on this, Sabrina?
Save it.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna save it.
All right. 17.
Very well. I get my advantage attacks, correct?
You do.
23.
Yep.
That's 16 as I spend 2 inspiration to jam Absolution down into the gut. And I'm going to pull the sword back out, spin it high overhead, and bring it down one more time, hoping to end this thing. 20.
That'll be a hit.
And I spend another 2 inspiration to do another 16, so that's 32 total.
You feel something go soft inside on the second blow, and there's acid spilling from these 2 wounds in its back as it's grasping for its weapon. But it's still grasping, and it's still starting to slowly push up.
Then he will stay locked with it as, do I have any movement left?
That was only 15 feet, so I would say so.
Okay, then he is going to pull back out of its range, and he is going to rejoin his friends, but he's going to
That'll
flank.
be another attack of opportunity.
That is fine with me. He's going to flank.
Okay. That'll be miss.
So he jumps out of the way, stumbles back towards the line.
Which one are you flanking?
He's gonna pull in. Well, let's see.
There's
has
the grappled one.
Yeah, he's got a hold of one. The standing one in front
of
him.
The one that bit you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm flanking him.
Okay, cool. All right. And at the end of your turn, Albin Shortlock Hammerfist runs a little further down the hill. Don't worry, I've got this one. And he fires at the downed Draconian. He does have disadvantage because it's prone, but it looks hurt, and he's going to go for that one. Way wide. His hands are shaking. He's still coming down the hill, though. Next time, I'm certain of it. That's the end of his turn. We're back up to the top of the round, and first off, the Draconian that is grappled by Rookone is going to try to snap at him from over his shoulder. He's not trying to break the grapple. You can actually feel his muscles kind of go loose in your arms. He's letting you drag him, but he does twist his head around more than a human can twist their head around and take a snap at you.
Fucking bet.
Is he within 5 feet of me?
Yeah, because Sir Rookone dragged him to the line. Are you doing something?
As soon as he does that, I wanted to get close enough to everybody. He's going to throw Absolution out and Sentinel attack as the creature tries to do something to him. So with him in his hand, is that advantage for me, or can I spend an inspiration for advantage?
I would say at this point, there's enough of you gather that this is flanking.
Okay. 17.
That's a hit.
And I'm going to roll it as I am saving. 10, but I get to re-roll that one. Is that 5? That's a 14.
14. So you slash into it, and Rookon, you can hear the hiss of acid from the wound that Sir Reardon opens up in this creature that you're grappling. It does still snap behind you. Does what did I roll here? A 13 hit?
Does not.
So it's not able to snap at you. The other one, the one that is now flanked with Sir Reardon behind, is facing Sabria. It's going to snap at Sabria.
Warding flare.
That's what
Last
you're
one.
saving for? That's good.
Yeah.
Good choice. Let's see. What did I do here? All right. So does a 13 hit?
It does not.
So again, the light shines in its eyes and it goes just off to the side of you. It almost trips and face plants again, but it does stay standing. However, it worked and you protected yourself from its jaws. The one on the ground will go here in a minute after Sabria goes. Sabria, it's your turn.
Honoria, if you're listening, almost under her breath, because Sabria, it's still so present for her. It's like she can smell that perfume that she hasn't smelled in years. But it's bittersweet now after the experience of the last few days. But if you're listening, you can hear her say, "Shine bright, little star." And I cast Guiding Bolt again. I'll use advantage for the attack. And if it hits, I'll use 2 more advantage to max the damage.
And which one are you casting on?
The one that just tried to attack me, the male.
Great.
16.
Just barely hits.
So that's 30 damage.
Your bolt strikes it in the chest. For a moment, you think that your spell is going to go errant, and then you feel it's almost as though a soft hand touches your wrist and pulls your hand in a slightly different direction. And when you unleash the spell, it catches this creature right in the chest. It drives through its scales, out its back. It drops to the ground, lifeless, and its body begins to dissolve into a pool of acid.
I take a step back and pivot myself toward the final remaining draconian that Rookon still has grappled, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is he remaining or did he die?
Oh no, he's up.
Oh, he's up. Okay.
Yeah, he just got slashed. There's 2 of them. There's one on the ground that Sir Reardon stabbed twice.
The prone
and
one?
The prone one, and then there's one that Sir Reardon slashed once. If that's the end of Sabria's turn, then it is Draconian's turn, and she pushes up from the ground, very wounded, acid pulling from her body, and she stumbles towards Rookon. Rookon, you think that she's going to try to stab you or bite you, but instead, at the last moment, she opens her maw and a long lashing tongue comes out. It's dripping with some sort of liquid. The color is somewhere between purple and red, and she runs it across the scaly body of the Draconian that you have grappled. And you watch as the saliva from her tongue begins to mend the wound on this Draconian. Its scales begin to reform, and it heals a certain amount of damage.
Good. Great. This is great.
And then she brings up her blade and is preparing to strike. But that is her turn. Her turn is over. And Honoria, it is your turn.
The Draconian on the ground, I've been warned by the knight, is going to explode into acid.
That's correct.
I am not very strong. Light shines best in the sky, and I go to pick up my priestess and get her away from the acid that I know is about to come, and I guess that would be an athletics to pick her up and fly.
Well, let me ask you, Sabria, this. Does she let you?
My intent was to use my movement to get away from the one that I just killed. Is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah, that thing's gonna explode all over.
Yeah.
us.
No. I'm moving back toward where Rakon is.
Okay, so you're far enough away.
Sorry, sorry to be unclear about that. No, that was my last pivot to use my movement to get away from that. Yeah.
How many feet away do you move?
How far away is Rakon?
He's 10 feet away.
Okay.
Yeah, I just would have moved to engage.
I know what's coming, so I will use 10 feet of my 60 feet of movement and just place myself as a physical barrier in the explosion that I know is coming. And I would like to hold action, even though it's a reaction anyways, for shield to attempt to absorb as much of the acid as I can. As an abjuration wizard, and nothing I can do. Wait, no, it's dead. I can't use Honoria's Minor Eyes of Time on something that's already dead, can I? It's an object. Because would that give me any kind of advantage on how to better protect the acid that's coming forward in the direction that it's going to splash?
That's a good question. Have you ever, you've probably not tried to do this before. With a draconian, it's ability checks. It's ability checks, but it's not saving throws. So I would say in this case, you probably don't need to look forward into time to know that because one of these things has already exploded into a pool of acid. When it explodes, it's just going to go everywhere.
Okay, I'm just going to put as much of myself in between as I can then.
Okay. All right. And you're not using your action.
I'll hold for a dodge action if necessary.
Cool. Then we are at Rookone. You have this draconian locked up.
Okay, I'm going to. How far away am I from the one that's prone? Not very far.
The one that's prone stood up, rushed towards you, licked the wound of the one you're holding, and seemed to heal that wound. So it's right in your face now. And when I say in your face, it's about to be in your face with a sword.
Okay. So within 5 feet of me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to... All right. I'm going to use my horns and attack the one that I have grappled.
Feet.
So holding it up into the air, and
it'll hold on to your horn.
are there allies nearby? Do I have advantage on this?
Yes, because Sabria and Sir Reardon are coming on to the other side.
So holding it right by the joint where his shoulder meets his torso, with my shield in my other hand, raise him. This is the male, correct?
Yeah. The one that you have grappled is the male. Yes.
All right. Raise him up off the ground, pull him away from me, and headbutt the draconian.
Do it.
Eight.
It grabs your horn as you try to headbutt it, and it forces with its clawed hand your head back. You actually feel your head pull backwards.
All right, then I'm going to use my bonus action for a shield shove to knock it prone.
All right. And you beat a 19. Yes, you can.
Sure can.
So you still have it grappled, and then you slam your shield into it, even if it's pulling your horns back, and it lets go of your horns. It goes down to the ground, and you still have it locked up. It's now prone and grappled, which is not a good place to be.
All right. And then I'm going to shift. Can I move 1 square away without provoking an attack of opportunity? No, what? Screw it. I'm going to dash. Use my movement. No, that's a main action. Sorry.
Dash is an action. Do you have cunning action? You are rogue, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Then you can take the cunning action.
Then I'm going to, after I slam him to the ground with my shield, dig the shield into his rib cage and drag him across the ground for 60 feet as like a charge against a tree, a nearby tree.
I don't think you can't make it 60 feet, but you can drag him quite a ways without provoking opportunity attack.
It would be 30 feet to a tree.
Yeah. But you're able to drag him, shield in his ribs. He's still struggling against you. And that's the end of your turn.
Yep.
Albin, Shortlock, Hammer, or no, it's Sir Reardon.
Okay, so tell me what I've got here. I'm seeing one get drug away.
Yeah, he's dragging one that seems fairly unwounded, but totally locked down towards the tree. And then there's the one that you stabbed twice, stood back up, seems to be bleeding acid from her scaly body. That's the only other one left. And she's starting to turn towards the other 3 of you. You notice in her eyes, there's not fear, but something else, something calculating.
Okay, he's going to attack with the intent to ground her in case she's trying to call or do some type of... He's just going to attack. This is just as vicious as he can get. I don't have advantage anymore, right?
Not at this point because Rokon moved away.
Okay, I'm going to spend an inspiration then to have advantage.
All right.
Natural 20!
How precisely and in as much detail as you would like to describe do you kill this draconian?
He's going to take absolution, and instead of engaging where there would already be a plethora or an abundance of the acid flowing, he, at the last second as he brings the blade in, he switches it to the flat end of the greatsword and drives it deep across the spine between the 2 wings. And as he hears the crack and the snap beneath the surface of the skin, he spins away, and as he backs up, points the blade at the crippled and sundered draconian and says, "I can read your eyes, beast. Your plan is not going to work." And he just steps away.
Chokes on its own acid as its body begins to dissolve. You've done it in such a way that no one around you will have to worry about this particular pool of acid. Albin, Shortlock, Hammerfist, in the meantime, panting, stops once he sees that the only draconian that he was trying to shoot is finally dealt with. And it's at this point that the other draconian that Sabria had killed completely dissolves into a pool of acid. I do need, let's see.
I have a question real quick. Benevolent Dungeon Master. That was my first attack.
Oh.
Now, am I able to use my movement? You said he got 30 feet away. Can I use my movement?
Yeah, you can move 30 feet and attack. Do it. And you have advantage on it, too.
Right, and help my friend? I mean,
yeah.
Tactically. So he'll come running up. "Hello, bull!" And he'll attack. 13.
So he's dragging him away as you're chasing towards him. It's just a slightly awkward, situation to try to hack your sword into, and you've had a day. You're not quite able to get there.
He stops and puts his hands on his knees. You got him. Whew. Whew.
It's at that point that the other draconian that was just murdered, both of them dissolve into acid. Only one of them does Honoria and Sabria have to worry about. I need you both to make me dexterity saving throws.
I'll use one of my advantages here.
One of your
I'm
inspirations.
gonna
Or
go-
inspirations, rather. Sorry.
I'm gonna go with using one of my inspirations as well. There,
It's probably wise.
that'll be fine.
16.
Oh, it's not gonna be fine.
Sabria, you are able to see this flood of acid as this body, at first it seems to implode and then dissolve and then burst outward. You're able to step just beyond its border. Honoria, even though you were ready for a shield, this comes in a way that you weren't anticipating. It comes from all around. And you will take some acid damage as it sears into your feet, into your shins. And that acid damage is 16. And then it begins to eat into the earth. You don't think it's safe to continue to stand here, Honoria, but you do think that it's a temporary pool.
I'm gonna make my Constitution saving throw to keep my
Your
fly
spell
up.
up. Oh, yeah. That is just enough. That's a little
Alright.
more.
And after that, I'll probably bolt straight up in the sky just out of instinct.
All right. The single draconian that's left that is grappled and knocked to the ground, it can't really push back up. It can't match your strength, Raccoon. You can feel that you're much stronger than this creature. And so the
Damn
only
right.
thing you can do is to bite wildly at you from the ground, which is disadvantage. And it will not be able to get it like its teeth crash right before your ankle. It's not quite able to get to you. Sabria, it's your turn.
Am I able to get in to attack?
Yeah, at this point, this thing is on the ground. Rookone has it completely dominated, and all of you could easily move in on it with advantage.
I watch as Honoria shoots into the sky and then turn and run back toward the others. And I will make a scimitar attack as it's biting wildly at my friend.
That's 25 as a super hit.
I was not using an
Oh,
inspiration.
you have
though.
advantage just because it's prone.
That's right. Yes, I do.
All right. You slice into it, more acid pours out of its wound. It seems pretty wounded.
Rukon looks and notices the wound that another has inflicted and like looks up defensively at Sabria and growls.
We'll finish it then. I back away.
Honoria, you see this as you shoot up into the sky. Is Honoria doing anything else, or is she just kind of piecing out for the moment?
I think her instinct would be to just get away. She's very afraid of pain, and her in character would just be, yeah, I gotta get out of here, until she assesses that, oh, it's not that bad. So kind of her anxiety kicks up and flares for a moment, and she'll spend her turn just kind of freaking out.
All right. Rookone, it's your turn. This thing is not even struggling. Only its neck is moving as it tries to snap at you. The rest of its body's gone limp.
It looks, tries to make eye contact and snorts. Beg for your life.
No. We are many. You are nothing. It snaps at you again.
I will show you nothing. Gaze longingly into it. And then he takes a horn attack at it as it's against the tree with advantage.
Yeah, and as you say, gaze longingly into it, its eyes go from fierce to like confused as to your message, and then you strike it.
All right. 18.
18 will do it.
Okay. I'm going to use my inspiration for max damage.
And you have sneak attack too. That's
Uh,
max damage on both.
My horns
Yeah,
are not a finesse weapon.
Yes, they are, because of a boon that you got.
Oh, fuck yeah. Today just got a whole hell of a lot better. Yeah, so that is 15 damage.
All right. So how are you using your horns? What are you doing here?
So it's the shield is in its rib cage. It's up against the tree, and I've got his armpit plastered to the tree, and I smash his face with my face against the bark of the tree.
Confusion is the last look that this draconian has in its eyes as you force your horns into its face against the tree. You can feel your horns going through its cheekbones, through the scales, breaking. And then you can feel its head begin to dissolve around your horns, and its body is dropping to the ground, and it's dissolving into itself too. You have just a moment before it explodes.
I want to use cunning action and dash away.
And you do right before it floods the area. All of these pools of acid, after 10, 15 seconds, they burn into the ground. They leave a mark, a permanent stain in the earth, and then they go. And it's here that you realize Sir Albin, Short like Hammerfist, panting, all of you together. No more draconians. That Oberon is missing. Oberon has slipped off.
Are there any physical draconian remains left, or are they all pools of acid?
They are all pools of acid. I'm sorry. I know you like to keep trophies, but they are all acid.
So I'm gonna go to the nearest, largest tree, and plant my hand against it and punch the tree with my shield until my rage subsides.
What? Is everyone all right?
Looking down at the burned, smoking sort of circles where they disintegrated. Not everyone.
I didn't know draconians and knights, they work together. That's where's the girl? Where Oberon? Where's Oberon?
Lady Oberon?
I look to Reardon. Have you lost her again?
It would appear so. Was unaware
like
it was
to
my
start
turn to watch her,
defending.
And I'm laughing, but warmly as I walk toward him. You look terrible.
You are right. And he's going to collapse. And he's just going to lay on his back in his armor and just pant.
I'd like to go over to the body of the felled knight. What's left of it. Did he have a water skin or anything on him?
Yeah, so he had a horse that he dismounted. There's a lance by the horse. The horse is well trained. It's not run off. It did get skittish at the fight, but right now it's just sort of standing there. It takes 2 pattering steps backwards. He has a saddlebag on the horse. You could check that.
I would like to look for some kind of vials or something like that, and then I'd like to collect some of the knight's blood, if possible.
So, to approach the horse and check the saddlebag, roll me an animal handling check.
I'm gonna make this straight up. I'm feeling. Oh God!
Oh,
Oh, Don. Oh, no, God. What are you going to do? Oh dear God! You rolled a quick crit for something.
You tell me how you approach this horse to check its bag.
Honoria doesn't know anything about animals. She's just walking right up to it.
It stomps you in the face.
Can I shield as a reaction?
Yeah, but I don't think you can beat a nat 20.
Oh no. Okay, I'll save
So
my shield.
it's
I
12,
fly back,
12 horse damage.
bouncing a couple feet
Horse
off the ground. And I'm actually into my hit points at this point.
At that, after stomping Honoria, the horse turns around and takes off running down the road in the opposite direction you came from. It starts, it's a gallop, so if you want to try to stop it or do anything, you'll have to do it pretty quickly.
No, I'm good. I kind of like am dazed and just looking up at the sky, feeling the acid burn into me. My face probably like a broken or bruised or cracked cheekbone or something, and just...
Please tell me she came to rest directly beside Reardon, so they can both
That's
be
exactly
on their
what
backs.
I was thinking, is somehow
You
we
guys-
both end up on our fucking like flat asses at the same time.
You guys are on like opposite sides, like she's resting at your feet and you're resting at her feet.
Quite a day, wizard.
Quite a day. Can we I'd like to reach out my hand opposite and kind of do like the, if you will connect with my hand and like pull each other up so we're facing each other.
Yeah, well, yeah, he definitely would do that. And here we are.
I hate horses.
Not a big fan either.
They don't appear to be all that fond of you either, Honoria.
The harsh, deep glare from the wizard, but she says nothing. If looks could be spells. Oh, wait, they can.
No. Are you okay?
Rukon turns over and like smells the air. Did someone get kicked by a horse?
Everyone roll me
The queen
perception
on all of
checks.
you.
That's
Natural 20.
24 for Rukon.
I'm still rubbing my
19.
face, to be honest. And my pride.
Honoria might remember this, even though she doesn't see it immediately. The rest of you, as you're sort of looking up and taking stock of where you are, you'll see that there is smoke rising from about a mile away, maybe less, down the road in the direction the horses run off. Could be chimney smoke. I'll tell Allison with a nat 20. I'll tell you it doesn't look like concerted enough to be chimney smoke. Chimney smoke has a certain shape to it that goes up and then it goes outward. This looks a little bit more wild, but not spreading. It still seems like it's coming from a central location. Oh.
So, but Rukon notices it, right?
Everyone notices it. Sabria just happens to make that extra distinction.
Got it. Some kind of fire. Campfire, perhaps.
Just to see if I could still keep the remainder of my fly from the horse kick to the face. As soon as I go into the air and realize I can't, I look again down the path where the horse is, and then slowly start rising to my feet, brushing the dirt off of me.
Yeah, Reardon would help and get help to get up if they're standing together, as time for sitting is over.
Albin will help Sir Reardon up, or try to. You fought so well, knight. I did not think you were going to make it.
It makes two of us. I saw you rush in. Thank you very much.
I used to be better. I'm a little rusty with my crossbow, but I need to go get my cart. Wait right here. I'll be back. And he starts chugging up the hill.
I could come. I can't.
I'd still like to inspect the body of the knight.
Yeah.
Walking
he has
a little
sword.
bit more slowly, and not as much determination this time around.
He has a great sword. He doesn't have anything of value on his personage beyond the armor that he wears, the great sword that he carries, and roll me an investigation check.
I'm gonna use advantage on this.
Okay.
Okay.
That helps. You're about to give up on your search when you get the idea to kind of reach into just underneath his chest plate, and you feel there's something movable, something shiftable, and you pull out what seems like a small medallion. It's some sort of honorary prize that he's been giving, or to recognize his service. You're not sure what it means, but you will recognize that he kept it next to his heart.
As a sage, I think I'll come back to you with this question, because I think I get obscure lore references every now and then. Just a moment. Continue while I ponder over this, rather.
Sure. Yeah. Check it out. What's everyone else doing?
Rukon will, after he sobers up, look at all the destruction and find the dismembered head of the knight.
Yeah, you have to go down the road a little ways because it rolled all the way down and then off to the side, but you're able to find it.
He takes it and he picks it up and he walks over to Riordan. I don't suppose.
No, thank you.
You don't want this?
No, not particularly, but he misguided and... No, I do not wish it.
So you do not wish to send a message to the Lord that he served with this?
I have questions, my friend. He seemed more honorable than someone who has fallen. He's been beaten. Let him lie.
He's of your kind, so I will respect your wishes. But I'm just saying, and where I come from, we would put this on a stick and use it to induce fear into the enemy.
Perhaps the riderless horse will serve that purpose. Rukon.
What do you want me to behead the horse?
Yes.
All right. That's not something I normally do, but if that's that's the message we want to send, I don't mind beheading a horse. It's all right. He takes out his scimitar and approaches the horse.
The horse is gone, man. The horse ran.
How did I not notice the horse leave? That is... I can say that I tried.
Honoria spooked it somehow. I don't... Are you all right, by the way?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Does any one of you happen to have a vial, container, something that I might have?
I do, Albin says as he's pulling his cart down the hill, down the road. I have many empty containers. Please help yourself to one of them, whichever one you think looks best or prettiest or whatever. Where is that? Where's Averin?
I was going to ask you whether or not you saw her back along the road. I did
But
not
I did
see her
not.
engage in the fight.
She is one that loves lurking in the shadows.
Yes, but not for this long.
I hope she's all right. Where are we going? And he will open up he'll open up and pull out a drawer full of vials that Honoria can use to take the knight's blood.
Thank you. I think this will go well for spell components. Something about a true knight's blood is amusing to me.
I wish that you had warned me. We're going to use it for that. Anyways, what are we doing?
I believe that Averin is likely chasing down perhaps others. We should look for her. Sir Knight, do you know what this is? And I hold out the medallion.
Where did you find it?
In the dirt.
Would it look like a trophy from a love, some type of relic or adornment used to inspire, or a herald or a boon, or?
It's a steel metal wrapped with a chain. And both of you would know this, Honoria, because of your background ability, and Sir Reardon, just because you served as a Knight of the Crown. It looks very similar to the sorts of honorary awards that might be given out at ceremonies for someone who's fought in a war or someone who's done a particularly great deed. But it's marked a little bit differently. The design, the etchings, there's nothing about it that is exactly like those that you've seen before. It's just a little bit different, but you get the sense that it marks a great deed. So it's something in Honoria, having taken it from inside his armor where it was placed on his chest. It's obviously, you could guess, something that was very important to him personally.
Okay, so if it's not a favor that he would wear, is it a campaign medal? Does it depict like a war or a certain event? Would Riordan be able to pry that out? Because the knights have, according to their codes, and they keep everything separate, they have different types of medals for an entire war, and medals for when one of them falls, a medal for a specific battle. Riordan has a few, but I mean, can he tell what this is?
Yeah, so this is not a campaign medal. It's not a war medal. It looks like, if you had to take a guess based on extrapolation, a medal for a specific deed, a singular deed. This is a kind of, if you were to go, if a knight were to undertake a quest and succeed on that quest and it be honored by those above them, that's what this seems like to you. But it's still a little bit different than anything you've seen.
She tosses it to him. Your reward. She smiles evilly for just a moment before that friendly demeanor that she's been trying to hold for some time goes back over her face. And it's just a little bit of a crack in her personality for just a moment. Besides the blood draining from the night, you know.
I need not a head, and he drops it on the chain, a medal as a trophy. But perhaps this is more clue than trophy, and he will pocket the medal.
Does that medal mean something in particular?
He's done something worthy of merit in this world.
But a clue to what?
a clue to the type of person who would give such a medal.
And why they would travel with draconians.
I say we move towards the smoke, and he turns back to Sabria. With your permission, if Avrin is out and about, that seems the most likely rallying point.
She will most likely join us when she feels the need.
You must have words about dancing off in a land so replete with enemies.
Yes. Yes, I would agree, but I'm afraid I'm in no condition to be leading much of anything at this point, Sir Reardon. How long was I gone?
Some time. Quite some time. It is always wise to have a second in command in case of unfortunate circumstances. Our Minotaur friend seems to forget himself at times, just as you do. Perhaps Sir Reardon would make a good second in command.
I did not know this was a rotten military.
It's not. If, with your permission, I would take point with our friend Honoria the wizard. I would have words.
I'll lean on my staff, and my hand again touching my face. I'll start walking.
He would turn and look at Rukon. Watch over them, my friend, and watch for Lady Avrin. If there are shadows, she is the teeth within them. And then he will kind of shuffle up ahead and get out of earshot with Honoria. I have a question for you.
I have many answers.
Do you? Well, my question is this. The night when we fought, he said with conviction that we were guilty of killing citizens here, civilians. I know of no such slaughter. We killed the vines from the lord of this place, the brigands outside the cave.
I have a
No
theory.
civilians. I thought you might.
We are walking in the footsteps of others before us. The actions that we have the same reactions of the past. Much like two stones being dropped in the same point of water. Our ripples may be very much the same. There is no other way that someone could predict what we are doing, claim that we have done things we have not. But it's just a theory.
But if we are, then why would they mistake us for the actions of others just by being foreign? Do we appear as these others, this other rock?
People see what they want to see, Sir Knight.
Yes. That's what I'm scared of. I am afraid that this world that we see is distorted in our own eyes, but the way that they see us is also distorted.
We
You're
should
mad.
ask the next person we find.
I don't know if we can trust them. But while I am not a fan of your magics, I recognize their power and I respect your ability to apply them. You can see where I cannot. You can see beyond the veil of the real world. I need your eyes, wizard, for I am an old knight.
I need your sword, knight, to cut through the veil of this world. I should
Then
begin looking for the story. I do like to read. I try to think back or forward in all times, in all histories. Is there any such tale of anyone like us? Similar, even in the most obscure.
Roll me a history check.
With advantage. Ugh!
I'll give you this. The things that you know about the world, about this realm and the organizations that you've met so far, Draconians and Solamnic Knights working together, that seems discordant to you. You're not aware of a time where the Knights of Solamnia and Draconians are working together. So, at least in the history that you're aware of, in the past, your past, or in the past of Kryn before you, you're not aware of such a time where that might be the truth. And then there's the third point. You know that Lord Loren Soth is named the Lord of the Land. And the fourth point, you know that the King Priest, Valdinas, has been named as a figure that exists in this world. So you have those disparate pieces of information, but whenever you try to fit them together, none of it quite fits. None of it quite makes entire sense to you.
This makes perfect sense to me. I recall this story in its entirety. There are 3 places of power in this world. We must find one of them. And
Go
the Lake
on.
of Sounds holds the key. You and I will act in the light of Paladine and save this world.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't have to roll to know someone that wears the black would ever fight in Paladine's name. However, you are a historian, Honoria, and your name itself bears the word honor, which is in and of itself a balance. And though I am not a young man or a smart man in the ways of the arcane arts, I do know my history, and I do know that there must always be a balance. And so, my friend, the wizard in black, we shall balance one another.
Honorian nods. There's a reason why there are wizards of the black, the white, and the red working together in the towers. There is balance. We must find the Lake of Sounds. She kind of keeps leaning on her staff and walking forward one step at a time.
Very well, wizard. I will rely on your eyes and my heart.
She, as Sir Reardon did in battle, clasps a hand on his shoulder, and her cold hands find just a soft spot on his neck and his shoulder at the same time, and he can feel the chill through her. And then she wraps herself back in her cloak, looks up at the sky, and smiles.
I would have thought they would have lined those robes. Catch a chill.
She looks away. Says nothing.
At this point, it's moved from daytime to what everyone but Sabria has come to realize is a long, perpetual twilight. As long as the day lasts 5 or 6 hours, the twilight lasts 5 or 6 hours before night comes with storm and rain. And twilight is beginning to show in the sky, the purples and the reds. The sun is dropping. The smoke still rises in the distance as Sir Reardon and Honoria return from their conversation to the rest of the group. Albin Shortlock Hammerfist is eating a half wheel of cheese. Seems to have caught his breath, is kind of looking around in the woods as though he's expecting to see something. Is anyone else doing anything, or are you all just waiting for the group to be back together?
Rukon turns back at Riordan and Honoria and is like, oh, it's about time. See, when I was a child and a boy and a girl would walk back into camp, you would assume they would become mates.
I don't think the night could survive me.
It's true.
Are you talking
She's
about
no
him?
Sir Jeremy.
You talking about the person that is the knight, or the knight? Because sometimes poetry is difficult.
I think she means both, my friend.
Ah,
I'll go and I'll make myself comfortable as I can and take out my lore books for the area and get researching on those nodes of power.
I hate to break up the party, but I think we should be going one way or the other, or else more of those creatures, the Draconians, they're going to find us.
Sabria's sitting some distance away, but kind of at the edge of the circle of warmth that our presence creates, and her back is to a tree. Her arms are wrapped around herself, and she's rocking, and holding herself. She's noticed the others have come back, but just sitting.
does Rukon notice?
I would say it's probably pretty evident. There's only 3 of you.
Yeah.
Rukon will walk over to Sabria. Hey, is everything all right?
It's fine. It's fine. It's just, it's so cold here.
That strikes me because you're an individual that can produce such fire. So for you to be cold, something must be amiss. And we've all got our pasts and our troubles and dark stories that made us who we are, but if at any point you have the desire to share, because I would be in the same boat if I could say that I do not wish. But in the event that you do, I've got some salted meat and we can find some flame. And if it would make you feel better, we can discuss.
Well, I'm grateful.
Yeah, but no prodding. Seek it when you need it. and then he'll turn and walk away.
And as he does, I'll stand to my feet. Should we be moving on then?
Rook turns around and looks at her, raises an eyebrow. I don't know. Aren't you the one that makes the decisions?
Just asking the question.
Sir Knight? Honoria?
Honoria seems incredibly distracted, looking through her books, flipping yes away. She closes the book shut, angry.
I think we should be going too, Albin says from where he's dragged his cart and is sort of like stomping anxiously his foot.
Kind of brings Honoria out of her anger, and she looks at him and smiles fondly. I am not much for strength, but perhaps I can assist you pulling your cart, she says, moving her book away.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I pulled it this far.
She nods, not wanting to hurt the stubborn dwarf's pride, and looks up at the moon. She starts walking.
Are you all walking forward towards where the smoke is coming from?
Yes,
right.
And Reardon would stare off in the last known position of Averin as if he's looking to see if she's going to pop up but as the light drops, he knows he is old. And as Honoria walks further ahead, he will brush up next to Rakon and say,
Watch the wizard. Her eyes are very important, but so are our eyes on her.
Why?
Because she can see what's happening here.
Rugon turns his head like a confused dog. What is happening here?
We are all on a hunt, my friend, and she's the only one that can smell the prey. Now we have to figure out if we're the prey.
Okay. All right. I'll keep 2 eyes out.
You all continue down the road, and it's not far before the road bends. And as you take that bend in the road, you see at last the end of this forest that Sir Reardon knows is called the Grove. And there, just beyond the tree line of the woods, at the start of a great grassy plain, you do spy the source of the rising smoke. It's an inviting campfire, just a little over 100 yards away from you. And around the campfire are 3 horse-drawn wagons just off to the side of the road. The wagons are topped with barrels strapped to their roofs, and a leather canopy has been stretched out across each of those 3 wagons, creating a bit of cover, maybe in the case of rain or for some other reason. From the center of this small camp, you see and can hear 4 musicians playing simple instruments and chanting a gorgeous, haunting song. And you see a young, dark, raven-haired woman dancing around the campfire. She's holding a dagger that's see very, very sharp and very bright and reflective. It's gleaming red in the twilight. There's a few pauses here and there in the music, and there's a little bit of laughter, and then the music begins again. It looks like they're having fun. All 5 of these humans, they're dressed in loose-fitting clothes that are made of patched pastel collars, except for the dancer, who is wearing a more form-fitting red dress. As you are approaching, again, about 100 yards away, they don't seem to have noticed you yet.
A gathering.
And a merrier one than we've seen in this land.
Is this any kind of ritualistic dance, or is it just seems to be someone that is having fun?
You can roll me an Arcana check or a Perception check, your choice.
I'm gonna go with Arcana. It's a 14.
There is magic here. There's magic in the music. There's magic in the dance. And as you feel that magic, being learned as you are, you see something above the campfire. It seems to be moving with the rhythm of the dance, almost in exact opposite parallel motion as the dancer, some sort of shadow rising up from the fire that's shifting and moving. You can't make out what the shape is or what it might be from here, but it's something unnatural. And then when one song ends and there's a short break and they begin talking for a few moments and then another song begins, you sense that feeling again and you see that slight shadow rise again.
There is magic here. Their dance, it summons something. We should observe for a short while longer.
Your counsel is wise, wizard, as are your eyes.
Do we need to surround the camp, or should we just observe from this location?
I believe for now we should stay together. They're not wearing armor, right?
No, they're in very simple, if colorful, clothes. None of them seem to be wearing armor. She has a blade in her hand, but you don't see any other weapons.
They're not armored. They're fragile. I believe you, Rukon, if needed, could defeat the lot of them quite easily. I think this may give us some more insight to our situation. And Honoria just stands leaning on her staff, watching intently, especially at the fire.
So if you're all going to stick around and kind of watch from 100 yards out, I will need some sort of stealth check. Give me a stealth check from all of you.
Seven.
I am honor bound to say that if this is stealth, I should probably roll at disadvantage.
That is the case.
I'm anything but honorable. 7.
Rukon got a 21.
21. For some time, you're able to watch. They don't seem to have noticed you. And one song ends, and then you notice the dancer will stop, maybe drink from a cup. You're not sure what the liquid is. Go say something to the musicians. There's always a little bit of laughter. There's something awkward about the 4 musicians, though, something that seems a little off. The dancer is much more organic and fluid and very casual, as though she were at a party. And she goes back to the campfire and begins dancing again.
I sense Averin is near.
What? I couldn't even smell her. What kind of senses do you have?
Perhaps I should... I take off my cloak. Be the one to make first contact.
Okay. Why did you take off your cloak like that? I am confused.
The black robes are not always inviting.
Oh. That makes sense.
You continue to watch, and they change song after song. It's at some point that the musicians, first one, and then three, and then all four, stop playing. And once they stop, the dancer stops dancing, and she turns, and there's something angry, something entitled in the way that she turns to them. And you hear her say something to them. You can't quite make out what it is. And then they point towards you. And
I'll take the opportunity to start walking forward.
the dancer turns too. She flips the blade over in her hand, gripping it in the opposite manner, and she struts, moving slowly, her hips swaying casually, confidently towards the lot of you. You're approaching. Is anyone else joining Honoria as she approaches you and Honoria approaches her in the camp?
Does it seem clear to me that we've all been noticed?
Yes, yeah. I mean, the four musicians, they pointed directly at you, and she turned, seemed to spot you, said something haughtily to them, and then began to sway towards you.
I'll then walk and back up Honoria just a few steps behind, and sort of under my breath so that she might hear me. You're not alone, Honoria. I've got your back.
We never walk alone when the gods are with us.
She smiles towards you and waves her sharp, crimson reflecting dagger over her head, and then makes a show of sheathing it in an ankle holster, basically, beneath her dress. She slides it up to her thigh and then continues to move towards you. As she gets close enough, she says, "Hello, outsiders. Welcome. Welcome to our camp. You are from very, very far away. You are not from here."
Is it so obvious?
Oh, maybe not to everyone, though I suppose to many it will be. But to me and my people, oh yes, it is very obvious. Please, come join us by the fire. It is almost supper time, and we have plenty of rabbit to spare.
We would be honored. She makes her way to the fire cloak. She lays it down as something to sit on and pulls out her book, smiling, looking around, flipping through pages, but not really looking at her book, kind of observing what's going on.
Does Sabria join her? Does she follow Honoria? Yeah.
I do follow her and sit right at the fire, very, very close.
What about Rookone?
He gazes over at Riordan. Are you seeing this? They're welcomed.
I am seeing it.
They're welcomed
Shall we?
easily.
You are welcome too. She hears you. She's right there. Please, please come. Join us by the fire.
Oh,
I would love to hear your story, and perhaps we might have some answers for you.
Seems great.
yeah, I'm not going to object. Let's go. The Rukon just strides gleefully towards the fire.
Rookone, make me a perception check. Honoria and Sabria
15.
also make me perception checks.
What about me?
Oh, you made an insight. 21.
You never make it
10.
anyways.
Rookone, make me an insight check, because that's what I meant to ask from you.
Oh, well, that one's much better. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a
That's pretty
14.
Rookone, you notice as Honoria and Sabria walk past and you're beginning to have this conversation with Sir Reardon that there's a cold look from this dancer at the back of Honoria's head. There's a warmth when she greets them, but a coldness as they go and she watches them go. And when she turns back towards you, she seems very interested in you. She's looking at you with a certain curiosity, a smile on her face. She's taken a couple of steps towards you before she says, again, come join our camp. Meanwhile, back in the camp, Sabria, you will notice as you all sit down, and Honoria immediately opens up her book and begins reading. Sabria, you'll notice that the musicians have begun to play again and sing again. They're looking at your curiosity with curiosity in their eyes, but for the most part, they're focused on their music. And when they open their mouths, chant, it's never with any words. It's never with any diction. And you come to realize that it's because these four musicians do not have tongues. They chant without pronunciation. They chant without words. You can see old wounds in their mouths as they open those jaws up fully. One of them smiles at you at one point. It's a very uncomfortable look to see this person open mouth smile at you without a tongue. And that's when you finally realize that that is the case.
Noted.
Rukon glances back at Riordan and turns back to the dancer who's right in front of him. I don't like the way you looked at my friends. I don't like the way you look at me. I don't like you.
Well, I like the way you look at me, and I like that you don't like me. I find that very interesting. As to your friends, I have no trouble with your friends, although I do wonder about that one. How well do you know her? And she points to where Honoria has moved to the campfire and is sitting down reading.
Not much better, I suppose, than I know you. But I saw into your gazes enough to know that I don't like you.
Well, perhaps by the end of the night, I might change your mind. And if not, we need never see each other again. Come. Would you like some rabbit?
As a policy, I do not take rabbit from people I do not like.
Suits yourself.
Can Riordan hear this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's happening like right in front of Riordan.
My friend, we're going to sit.
As he finally gets a word in after the rabbit comment.
Which we cannot like them by the fire.
Please, Come. This is silly. You warm yourself and have some food, and you don't have to like us, but we still welcome you because I find you very interesting.
We
Come.
appreciate your hospitality. Thank you. You are the only ones in this land to seem to possess it. But come, my friend. Fine. And he just walks off.
Rukon will wait till she turns around and follows Riordan and then go behind her.
She does, but she looks over her shoulder towards you with a smile several times. And then you all join into the fire. She says, please have a seat. There is one last dance to do. And then it is dinner. She begins to dance as a new song begins to play. However, as you all gather around the fire, we're going to go back, not that long ago, but earlier in the evening, to when Avrin vanished from the rest of the party. Avrin, you watched the knight fight Sir Jeremy. You watched Sir Riordan almost fall, and yet he survived. And then you heard a familiar sound from the woods nearby. During the midst of the battle, towards the end of the battle. Avrin.
My head immediately snaps to look in the direction of that voice.
It is a triangular, gray-bearded man, tall, gaunt, clad in black leather armor, ivory-hilted rapier swinging freely from his hip, and he's in the woods, a couple of trees in, just barely in your vantage point. And when he catches your eye, he doesn't speak again. He holds up his palm and he motions you to come forward. And then he places his hand over his wrist in front of his stomach.
As I see my father, I'm immediately pulling out a dagger. What are you doing here?
I am here for you, daughter. I am always here for you. Please, this way. Let us speak in private, and if you wish to try to kill me again, well, that is your choice.
I look back. Towards the group. And then not letting go of the dagger, watching him with watching him not keeping my eyes off of him. I take one step and then another.
He turns his back toward you. Every once in a while, you think he's looking over your shoulder, but he doesn't actually make eye contact with you. He moves further and further into the woods, and you see him reach into a pouch on his belt and pull out a piece of paper at some point. You can't quite make out what the paper is, but he slowly unrolls it, and he lays it out on a tree stump. At this point, you can't see your friends. You can kind of hear them. There seems to be some sort of conversation happening, but he sticks a dagger into the piece of paper and he turns towards you and gestures down towards it. And he says, "At last, I think that it's time that you and I come to an understanding, Averin. I have been patient with you so far, but there is a lot at stake here. I need you to be ready for what's to come."
So it can benefit you.
It's not just me that it's going to benefit. How well do you know your friends Sir Reardon and Rookone?
As well as I have to.
Have you come to realize that they are from hundreds of years in the future from when you are from? A future that you have not seen yet.
I may have heard a thing or two about it.
The future they come from, it cannot come to pass. It is a future without hope, without law or civility. It is a dying world, Averin, and I am sad that I had to play a part in it. But I raised you to help me make things right. I know that you feel angry and used. I deserve it. But right now, you are exactly where you need to be. There is a chance for you to make the world better. Maybe you don't care about the world now. But when you're as old as I am, you will.
When did you ever care about anything other than yourself? And me feel used? I was used. You're using me right now.
That is true. I am. But Averin, that does not mean that I do not love you. That I do not want you and Learly and I to be a family.
You gave up that chance for us to be a family when you decided to keep secrets and not say why.
And what if I give you my secrets now, daughter? What if I tell you the truth now? Will you swear to give me another chance?
I'd like to insight check.
Please do.
I don't know whether I can swear on it.
Promise just to give me a chance. I can tell you something true about myself, and I can help you save your sister's life. I just want a chance.
What's wrong with her? I saw how she looked.
When they healed her, they could not heal her entirely. She will look like that for the rest of her life. But that does not mean she is not strong. What is wrong with her now is where she is. She is in the Stormshire Forest, near Harthalen, and she is in great danger. He points to the piece of paper that he is stuck into the tree trunk with a dagger, pulls the dagger up, and hands you the paper. You can see clearly, whether you take it or not, that it's a map.
I reach out a hand and take it.
As you take the paper, his hand, not holding the paper, reaches over top, and his palm touches the top of your hand. He attempts to give it a small squeeze.
I move my hand away before he can.
Will you know my secret? Will you swear to give our family one last chance, Avrin?
Only for Leole's sake.
Very well. There are 3 things that are true. 1, that I love you, and always have. 2, that I wish to rescue this world from itself and need you to help me. And 3, that Hawk was never my name. I am Fistendantalis. That is how the world knows me. But I have always been your father. And that is how we will end tonight's episode. Oh, I'm so glad you can make it, Kiana.
Oh boy!
All right. So that was great. Not at all what I anticipated for this episode, which is totally cool. I loved it. We have a couple of polls going around through the chat. We're going to get those moving, and I'm going to check on those. And let's go around in a circle and check in with folks and see how everyone's doing. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Greg.
Well, I tell you what. This is the gift that keeps on giving. It might not be the Jelly of the Month Club, but by God, it's the May Black Roses Bloom of the Week Club. Shit. Well, anyway, chat, you were awesome tonight. I'm gonna go around and talk to everybody as I send the poll results to Dickhead. I'm Don over here, and then we'll get into what it needs to be done. Billy, how are you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. It sure did feel nice to fuck up some draconians, but also, what? Fist and Dantalus, get the fuck out of here. That was dope. Oh man, I love this game. Chat's been so fucking cool, guys. This is so cool. This is like I've done theater for a decade. This feels like theater where I get to talk to you guys while I'm doing shit. This is so cool. You can, if you want to find me and follow my stuff, you could follow me at Bill of the Forest. Man, I love playing with you guys. Can't wait till next week. Awesome series of events. Really looking forward to interacting with y'all and to see what happens next week.
Okay. You've received everything, gracious Dungeon Master. As I jump over to our priest, Allison, what did you think about today? Nothing big resolved or anything, but how are you
No,
doing?
not at all. No, I loved every second. But of course, my daddy's not a black wizard, so easy for me to say, right? Fantastic stuff. Just incredible every second. I love it. I love getting to play with all of you. I love the way these relationships are unfolding and evolving. I love it when the comedy just sort of happens naturally in the middle of all of it. There were a couple of moments that really had me going. Some fun stuff. And chat, you make this world. You and Don make this world, and we get to live in it. And it is, it's not just a joy, but it's a true honor. You can catch me back here on the channel on Sunday night as Pulp Cthulhu Project Athena moves toward its series finale. I can't believe we're almost there. And here coming in January, you can catch me on the Greyhawk channel running my own game for the very first time. The Pilgrim Church Heist. So super excited about that. And more information to come. Catch me on Twitter at Allison Robinson with 2 L's and a Y. I love you all. Have a great week. We'll catch you back here.
Fantastic. As we jump over to Sir Reardon's new BFF, Honoria, Tia. You've been making fun of me in all the chats tonight. So have at it.
Oh, that was just a great moment to tie that all together. The Dawn saying, "You have no idea what's happening." I know exactly what's happening. Was just, I've been waiting for that as an excuse to tie it all in. I could not for the life of me find my campaign notes from the episode where Fist and fucking Dantalus told me what to do, and I knew it. I fucking knew it because he had the goddamn bloodstone on him, and I was like, no, Dawn wouldn't be that much dick, would he? He would, no, he probably just stole it from Fist and Dantalus, didn't he? No, it is fucking Fist and Dantalus. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. Totally chill with it. Yeah. When I'm done recovering from today's episode, I will be playing some Magic the Gathering Arena, as I am a sponsored streamer with Wizards of the Coast. You can check me out. I have like a ton of packs to give away, so if you play the game, lurk in chat, and you have a chance to win after every game that I play for the rest of the week. And it's been my second time on a Wizards of the Coast website in 2 months, so I'd like to say that I'm definitely living my best life. Pope, if you don't take one of those episodes to play with me, I'm gonna be mad at you. You better come back and do flashback episode with me. I'm excited. And yeah, all I'm gonna say is I fucking didn't see that coming, Don, buddy, pal. It's fine. Everything's fine. Fine.
Okay. And thanks for showing up, Kiana, so we get to hear all this horse shit drop right at the end. I mean, no, I'm joking. So great that you can make it in here. Awesome, my friend. Perfect timing for the perfect end to our sort of penultimate episode. I'll let Dawn talk about that in a sec. How are you doing, Kiana?
Thanks for being patient as my internet decided I got into the Zoom call right before the show. And the Wi-Fi was like, nah, fuck you. Can't. So I'm just glad it actually came back online in time for me to show up and actually do things. And it was fun being in chat and yelling, as always. But that's just. I'm gonna take some time to process these feelings. Fucking what? Great. Love daddy issues so much. This is fine. Perfectly fine. But you guys can find me over on Twitter at KillerUs. Best way to figure out what I'm doing because I'm all over the internet playing role-playing games almost every day of the week. I'm gonna be on the channel here on Saturday, I think. Yes, for Project Kana, where Cthulhu Madness goes on, and also I will plug that on Monday. I am running a one of my first episodes of Bluebeard's Bride, a series of one-shots of feminine horror as presented by Magpie Games. Allison will be on later on in the month, but eventually it's going to be horrific, it's going to be terrible, and it's going to be awesome, so definitely check that out.
Wait, horrific? Nobody said anything about horrific.
Oh, no, Allison, it's just smooches. That's all.
Okay, good. No, I mean, bride, right? So we're wedding role-playing? I'm so down for this.
Yeah, totally. But yeah,
Horrific.
Can't wait for next week.
Yeah, Allison, you've been hitting it out of the park with those brides this episode, so I mean, I'm sure it won't be horrific, right? Anywho, hey, Dungeon Master, how are you doing, brother?
I could not be better. This was fantastic. Yeah, I loved this. I loved everything about this episode, even though it didn't go, like most episodes at all like I thought it would go. I just had so much fun watching you guys play with each other. I thought that there's something very compelling and very creepy about the conversation between Sir Reardon and Honoria, and I mean that in the best way possible. And I love that. I love that, Kiana, you made it in at the end. That was a nice surprise, and I'm glad we got to have that, really nice moment together. Yeah, so this is the penultimate episode of this season. That's not to say the end of the show. We have so much more story to tell, and I'm excited to tell all of it. Next episode is going to be a doozy. We have our first major legendary monster donation come in next week. It's something I worked on.
Excuse me?
Oh yeah. I mean, that could be good. That might be a friend. He might be your new friend.
I just need an hour. Can I have a goddamn hour, Don?
I was trying to get you guys a long rest today. I really, really did. Maybe next week you'll get one. So the next episode next week on Wednesday will be the finale, but there is an episode between now and then. We weren't able to do it last Sunday because of some health issues. This Sunday at 9:30 p.m. after Project Athena, which, by the way, if you haven't seen Project Athena, please watch it. It's almost ending. It's going to be very, very emotional and such a lovely, lovely story with a lovely cast and also a lot of Cthulhu monsters getting blown up in lots of ways. So check that out. Check out Project Athena on Sunday at 7:00. At 9:30, Pope Deadpool will be doing a flashback episode. It's a Sabria flashback episode. I gave just a little bit of tease to it tonight, but it's gonna be super pulpy and fun. Everybody's characters are a blast. We're going to be doing a lot more of those moving forward as more folks want to do those episodes with us. I've got a lot of things planned in that regards, but we will be taking a short break for the holidays after next week just because of the holidays, people's traveling schedules and whatnot. Won't be long. We'll be back soon. We're going to keep telling Dragonlance stories until I manage to finally kill these guys. So, we'll see how long that takes. Speaking of, I need everybody to make me corruption saving throws, charisma saving throws. And Sir Reardon, you have advantage.
$18.
Fantastic. And then, oh, there she is.
I had a 24 on my second roll.
On your second roll. All right. So, everyone except for Sir Reardon, you are touched by the events of tonight in one way or another, whatever that means to you personally. Honoria, you're as far gone as you can be. You don't have to worry about this anymore, but everyone else is going to roll me 1d6, and that is how much corruption you're going to gain.
I'm gonna roll it anyways.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
2.
I'll just take those 2.
Take those 2. 4. And Rookone, you do have, because of a previous poll, the light still shines. So you are protected from this corruption. You have 1 light still shines occurrence left. You have 1 protection from corruption left. As far as the polls went tonight, we have a rather interesting thing, and I could think of a couple of different ways to do this. First, Sir Reardon won the light still shines again. That brings him up to 3. But before that, I want you to go ahead and, just for fun, roll me 1d8.
Oh, if I'm anything, I'm here for fun.
He's doing it because one of us is protected from the light, and whatever number he's gonna divide, he's doing something crafty. He smiled.
4.
How much corruption would that put Sir Reardon at?
4.
Are you going to use the light still shines?
I will take the corruption.
All right. So be it. Allison, Sabria gains 2 corruption. Is that what you rolled?
Yes, that is what I rolled.
What's that bring Sabria up to altogether?
That brings me to 6 altogether.
All right.
Still very righteous.
Still very righteous, but no protection. And Lunatari is the current moon. It is the neutral moon. So corruption's a little stronger than it was a couple of episodes ago. Everyone else managed to avoid corruption in one way or the other, except for Kiana, who gained 4 corruption, probably finding out who her dad's real name. That's a lot. What's that put Averin at?
It just puts her up to 5.
Fantastic. Just 5. I will say next season, we're going to be streamlining a couple things. I know I'm going to streamline how I do corruption a little bit. I might throw it up in the Discord and do a nice post for everybody. So after the show's done, you guys can just go check it out there. More about that later. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for being here. Chat, thank you so much for being here. I'm on Twitter, Donathan Fry. I'm here. I'm there. It doesn't matter. I can't wait to be here next Wednesday for a real slugfest and the culmination of a few great storylines that we have going on right now.
Fantastic, my friend. And as I roll in, and we'll let you guys go quickly, Legion, you are fantastic. I salute you. You are absolutely a member of the party as we trudge through the land of Soth. You walk and splash in the mud beside us. And I couldn't ask for a better companion group, as both on screen and off, you all are creating and weaving this story right along with Dawn, and I thank you all for it so much. Coming to the channel tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we begin with a group of people doing Dungeon of the Mad Mage as we delve down and do a little bit of Wizards of the Coast's brand new offering. I am switching it up considerably, so while there are a lot of elements that are the same, a lot of it will be different, so you too can enjoy it when you do your playthrough. I will not ruin anything for you. And then, as we said, on Saturday from 2 to 4 Eastern, we have Project Kronos. Sunday from 7 to 9, Project Athena, both Pulp Cthulhu offerings, and then Pope Deadpool joins us as we flash back, and I get to play Assault Mage. on 9:30 Eastern on Sunday. And then join us back here next week when we do that thing we do, perhaps for the last time, as we take to the ground of Kryn with you as we go. So, until we see each other next time, I always say, and we always say, you can't always roll nat 20s, but you can role play. So I will see you guys next time.